I don't know, like 20 minutes, half hour ago. Dude, I was tired. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Some of you guys don't know I get up every morning at 5:30 and drive to the University of Toledo every morning. And then I stay up till like 1:30 every night because I have an amazing cabin 12. Go 12! We have a great time. I was tired, man. I was tired. And before that I ate dinner. And we had awesome dinner. Good. Awesome dinner tonight. Also sticks, now one of my new faves. So awesome. And dude, guys, I just was not feeling good. Not feeling good. But I was not feeling good. Like I even asked Sarah, Nurse Sarah, where she is. I said, "Do you guys have the business or something?" Because, oh man, I'm just not feeling. I'm cool. I thought you said, ugh, like, you know, like.
You're in the front row.
Yeah, splash zone. No, but I was not feeling good. You know what? And I was like, God, I gotta hear this message tonight, so you better do something for me because I gotta hear this message tonight and whatever. So we sat down there worshiping. I'll tell you what, guys, after 5 songs, I feel great. I feel great. I ain't playing. I feel great. So I just want to praise God for that, which is awesome because now I get to blow your guys' minds with an amazing message. So and that's what's going to come. So that had nothing to do with anything I was going to say. For you ladies that are in here, you guys don't know this because you weren't with us last night, but we might be here a while, guys, because I like to talk. Guys, none of all the ladies like me. I want to talk to you guys about something. Okay, this week we've had a couple different themes go on this week. Obviously the theme of the week is names of God, right? So we've been talking about different names that God has given to different people in the Bible. We talked about different names that God is. We talked about all these different things and stuff based around names. And so I was like, as I was preparing this message, I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I should do something around the names or something like that, because it tends to work. Well, then there's this other theme that's been going on this week, and some of you guys might not know that it's going on, but I know Cab 12. I know that Cab 12 knows that this theme is going on because we've talked about it a couple times. I know that some of the other people know that it's going on because they've talked about it in their message a little bit. And what that theme is it sounds like we keep talking about that this camp is such an amazing place. That we enjoy coming here. We're surrounded by Christians. We have a good time. We're able to be this awesome Christian. And then we go back in the real world and we go, right? I mean, we talk about, right? We talk about that. Oh my gosh, like in Cabin 12, we were talking about, devotions about having like accountability partners or getting together, during when it's not the summer and stuff. And because, we want to continue our walk with God, but it's so hard out there in our normal lives. Because we're not surrounded by hundreds of people. Who said it best something about showering with hundreds of Christians or something like that, right? We're not like that, okay? When we go to our jobs or go to our schools or wherever it is that we're at, or go to Walmart, because we all go to Walmart, whenever we go, somewhere like that, we're not surrounded by all these Christian people. And it's tough. So I was like, well, maybe I should write a message on that. Okay, I was like, okay, God, maybe you want me to talk about that because there's this theme. And then he said to me, he's like, well, you know what? He's like, maybe we just combine those two. Maybe we'll combine those two, and we'll talk about that a little bit. So I'm gonna need some volunteers out of the crowd, and don't put your hand up. I'll pick them. So I guess you're not volunteering, right? I'm gonna need some people out of the crowd who's not volunteers to come up and help me. Anybody here ever seen Mean Girls?
Oh, yeah.
Right. She has. As some of you guys know, I teach early childhood education to a bunch of juniors and seniors, and I actually show parts of Mean Girls in my class because there's a very valuable lesson in Mean Girls. What's the big main theme in Mean Girls? Anybody know who's seen it 700,000 times? Okay, lies is one. Okay, maybe I'll be a little bit more specific, and I'll just give you the answer. And the answer is that it's about groups, cliques, labels. Where you fit in when you're out in the real world. Who you are. Okay, so we're gonna deal a little bit with that. I need let's see, Deacon, could you come over? Could you turn around and hold that up? I'd have you act it out, but I think you should just stand there probably. Oh, yeah, can you? I mean, right? You don't have to. Now, that's the only one I really know. The rest of these, I don't know if I can agree with that. But let's go. Victor. It's just the vibe. Let's go. You want one? All right, come on. Let's go.
Yeah.
You in the hat and glasses in the back with the yellow and black. I know. That's my hat. I can't take credit.
Be hipster.
Not even close.
I know, but you dress. I know, but it's your shirt. It goes with it. Let's go. Yeah. Woo! Now look, this isn't exactly what I would pick. But no, it doesn't say hippie, but we'll go with that. With, diet and kind of.
Eyes and what is it?
Oh. Did you see mine? See my skills?
Obviously, these are groups that you have in your school, right? You have the dogs. Listen up. You don't have ninjas at your school?
Absolutely not.
Oh, man, Ron, you put it down. You don't need to be up here. No, there, you just don't see it. I thought we all had ninjas at our school. Yeah, okay, maybe we have some goths at our school. We got a bunch of preppies, those class clowns that you guys know about, right? Okay.
Nerds.
A bunch of nerds, which we found out today was cool now, right? Yeah. I found out today was cool. And a jock, okay? A jock. Does anybody here think that they fit into one of these categories?
What's a job?
What's a jock?
Yeah.
A jock is like a football player who's really stupid, doesn't know what he's doing. So what I want to talk to you guys can sit down, that's cool. You guys take your papers with you. Take it around your neck. Now maybe you don't use those words anymore, you probably don't walk around saying that, that kid over there's a dumb job. Or you don't say that, that kid over there, that's that smart, goofy nerd, he's got his little pocket protector and, You might not do that, but we do label people, okay? Everybody gets labeled, and we label people. So you're sitting there going, well, how does this go into with the two things that you were talking about? Well, we were talking about names, right? We were talking about the giving of names, okay? Changing people's names, Abraham to Abraham, those types of stuff, or whatever. But the one thing that we don't understand is that. Not that we have exactly that power, but there's this little thing that we do to where we give out names. We categorize people. We label people. People label us. All this stuff goes on. And sometimes it can be funny, you know. If you're a class clown, you know, you might think that's fun. You know, the young jocks, they don't get it, so they think it's okay. Sorry, looking at me. But we do this though, okay? You know, we continue to label people. We continue to do this. And as we go back into our schools, we fit into and start fitting into one of those categories. Okay, you know, you come here to camp, and you know, we're all you know, high on Christ and all happy and all great and all giddy. And then we go back home, and we get back with our original friends or even our family. And we morph back into this whatever maybe we were before we came here. And that just seems to be the theme to me this week. It just keeps coming back and back and back. And I'll tell you what, you know, I was there at one time. You know, when I was younger and I was growing up and stuff, it happened to me. I went to church camp ever since I was a third grader. Ever since I was a third grader, I went to church camp. And it was awesome. We'd go because we got to play foursquare, so that was awesome. And kickball, and we actually had polo, which was really kind of cool, except no horses. And so like it was really neat. So you know, we played all these games, had a lot of fun. Read the Bible, cool. You know, that was neat. Everybody loved each other, awesome, cool, whatever. And then we go back home, and you know, for me myself, I would have been categorized probably as a hillbilly. So me myself, that's where I would have fit back into when I was back home. And then I started growing up, and you know, I became, I think, a little bit more popular. You know, I started playing sports, so I was a jock. I was in that. I liked video games and cartoons and anime, so I was kind of a nerd as well. I loved telling jokes and stuff, so I was also a class clown. I could ninja kick the crap out of people, so I was, of course, a ninja. You know, and so I fit into all these different categories and stuff like that. And then I would go back to camp the next summer, and I would turn into this other person. Let me pray for you. I want to pray for you, and I want to sing these worship songs. And oh God, thank you so much, And then I'd leave camp again, and I would go. And it was a cycle. It just kept going over. And then I became a freshman, which some of you guys will do, and some of you guys have. And I became a freshman, and I had the decision of going to camp again. And it was kind of a little bit of a tough decision because high school football in my school was a huge, big thing, okay? And I played football forever, you know, and I was a quarterback and I was a safety, and so I played football forever, and I loved it. You know, I played ever since I was a little kid and stuff. And I had the decision of whether to stay home from camp and go to two-a-days or to, you know, to go to camp. Well, freshman year was easy. I didn't think I played at all, so I went to camp. Easy decision. Well, as I was at camp, I gave my life to Christ again, okay? And what I mean by gave my life to Christ again was... What I mean by I gave my life to Christ again was I did just that. I said to him, look, God, I want to rededicate my life to you because I am not doing what I'm supposed to as a Christian. I'm not being this person that you had asked me to be. I'm not doing these things. So I rededicated my life, and oh my goodness, my life, it kind of turned around a little bit. It was pretty awesome. My thought process kind of started going a different way. I started seeing people in new lights. You know, it wasn't so much like, you know, the jock and the nerd and stuff like that. It was, oh hey, you're Sherry and you're Ron and you're John and whatever. And I started seeing people like that. Well, the year goes by. My freshman year goes pretty well, and I go on to my sophomore year, and guess what? That decision comes again. Now, only this time it was a little bit harder decision because I was asked to be starting quarterback this year. That year, not this year. That'd be weird. That year, as a sophomore. And I really wanted that. I really wanted to be a quarterback. But this decision came again. Do I go to camp? Or do I stay home? Now, of course, all my friends told me what? To stay home. Duh. There was 18 of us who played football together ever since we were midgets. We were going to have an amazing team that year. They wanted me to stay there. Oh man, but I felt this tugging. I felt this thing of like, I can't stay home. I gotta go to church camp. I love that place. They have great food. This place, there was no doubt I would have gone because the food here is amazing. And I had this choice to make. Well, the coach told me, if you're not 2 days, you ain't playing. You're not starting. Sorry about your luck. And I thought about it, I prayed about it, and I talked, luckily I have an amazing dad, and I talked with my dad, and he's like, dude, he's like, dude, probably didn't call me dude. But he said, do what you need to do what you want to do. I made a decision, I went to camp. Went to camp, had an amazing time, had a great time. Now luckily, the end of this year actually had a pretty good, happy ending. I went back, and my position was taken by a good friend of mine. His name is Dusty Snow, and he was playing quarterback, and luckily he was really bad at it. So I got my position back, but I was faithful. I was faithful to God. From then on, my life. It wasn't so much that it was easier, but decisions in my life were easier. My thought process and stuff was a little bit easier for me. And that might sound weird because, a lot of times people say that when you accept God, sometimes life can maybe get a little bit harder because He starts throwing more and more things at you. And it's not that my life was easy and that things were thrown at me, but it was that I was strong enough, I had enough faith that I knew that He would take care of things. So you're sitting there asking me, where the heck are you going with this? Well, these labels that we were talking about, they are, they were funny. Nerd and ninja and class clown and stuff like that. They were funny. But sometimes we get called other labels, or we call other people other labels. Okay. Now, guys, you probably haven't had this, but anybody in here ever been called this before? You don't have to raise your hand. I said, guys, probably not. Okay? We have hurtful labels. Things that are said to us that can really stick with us. And sometimes when we're getting called this or something like this, we make that decision to revert back to who we were before camp, in order to not be called something like this, maybe. Carl, come here for a second. Now, when you come to camp and you make this decision and you do whatever, you get another label, okay? Carl tonight got this label. All right? Yeah, go ahead. Carl got this label. Your leg's not tired. Okay? You can stand there for a little bit. Okay. So Carl got this label. Now the thing is, with this label comes other labels as well. When somebody finds out you're a Christian, it's not always the easiest thing. It's not like here where, ooh, Carl became a Christian, Gabby became a Christian, David became a Christian. Let's all hug them and love them and tell them yay. When you go back home, it's not always like that. We know that. We've been there. You get called things like, what? Goody two shoes, or Jesus freak. You know what this? I'm going to wristband. Jesus freak, or what's something else? Anybody else ever been called anything because they're a Christian? What? Wuss. Sissy. What you got? Hateful. Hateful? Hateful, yeah.
A fag.
A fag. All right. All these different things because of this label. A label that while you're here is rah-rah, and while you're out there, it's not. While you're here, it's the best thing in the world, but when we go out there, it's not. What are you going to do about that? What's your thought? What's your decision? I won't make you stand anymore. What's your thought? What are you going to do with that label? What is it to you? While you're here, you can make the decision and it can be all great and amazing. But when you go out there, what is it to you? How important is that label to you? How important is that decision? Because that's what this label means. It's about that decision that you make. It's not just a word that has a bunch of letters in it. It means something. In Revelations, Jesus talks, and I like Revelations. As you guys, the guys found out last night, one of my favorite books of the Bible is Song of Solomon. One of my other ones is Revelation. I'm kind of a weird guy, okay? But I really like it. He's talking to this church in here, okay? We're in Revelation 3, and I'm going to start on 15. He says, I know your works, that you are neither cold nor hot. Oh, I wish you were cold or hot. So then because you are lukewarm and neither cold or hot, I will spit you out of my mouth. Because you say I am rich and have become wealthy, you have no need for anything. You do not know that you are wretched, miserable, poor, blind, and naked. Now Jesus is talking to his church. I'm sure you guys have heard this before. He's talking about being hot or being cold. As a Christian, what does it mean to be hot? Yeah.
You're on fire.
You on fire. Okay, good. Yeah, you're on fire for Christ. You're out there, okay? You bump into your Toby Mac. All right, you driving down the road listening to some funky Jesus music. Right? No Toby Mac fans here?
Lecrae.
All right, okay. A little bit of Lecrae. All right, you're out there. All right, you're preaching the word. You're talking to people. You're not afraid to talk to people about Christ, no matter who they are. Okay? You're not afraid of letting people in the public know that you're a Christian. Not that you're shoving it down their throat saying, "You will love God." No, not like that. Although some people feel like they need that sometimes. What's it mean to be cold?
Refreshing.
Okay, refreshing. What else does it mean to be cold? What does it mean to be cold as a Christian, mate?
Hiding?
Okay, hiding. Being shut out. Being shut out. Anybody else? Well, what's the opposite of everything we just said about hot?
Cold.
Absolutely. Okay, yeah. So the opposite of hot is cold. Now that we learned that, we can all take a better shower tonight. Yeah. So when you're a Christian, though, being cold sometimes means, like I said, the opposite of what I was just talking about, being hot. Not telling people about Christ. Not being, out in the public and talking about it. Not listening to your funky Jesus music or listening to something else. Whatever, okay? But that's not the important part about this message. The important part is that there's one more type that we haven't talked about, which is what? What's he saying there? Lukewarm. Lukewarm. Now, if I didn't maybe know what I thought Jesus was talking about in here, and I heard this passage, and he was just talking about being hot and cold and lukewarm. If we're talking about being hot, we're talking about doing all these things, and we're talking about cold and maybe doing nothing as a Christian, that lukewarm, I would think would be in the middle. I would think that lukewarm would be like, sometimes I listen to this music. Sometimes I listen to this music. Sometimes, if it's the right person, in the right time, in the right place, I might talk to that person. But if it's not, I'm praying. I'm praying. And what's Jesus say? He says that is worse than doing nothing at all. In fact, he says that it's so bad, I'm going to spit you out my mouth. I'm going to spit you out my... Exactly. I'm going to spit you out my... I want you gone. I want you away from me. I don't even want you near me. Pretty much saying, you're worthless. You're worthless to me if you're lukewarm. And guys, that's what we're doing when we leave this place sometimes. We're being that lukewarm. We're being that, I'm a Christian, I'm not a Christian. I'm a Christian, I'm not a Christian. That's what we're doing. Guys, I did it all the time. Go to church, yeah, amazing grace. Go to school, man, you got praying over there. You know what, man? You guys laugh, but we all have done it. Some of us still do it. Even, I don't want to say the best Christians, even the most faithful sometimes of Christians still have an instance where they go, "Ooh, I ain't talking to her at work. Nope. Nope. Nope, not her. Nope. I'm not saying nothing to him. No, man, that's my sister. Do you know how much trouble it's going to cause at Christmas? Nope. Happens, man. For all you guys that know some of my heart from last night, I talked about it. I come from this amazing family. I got seven siblings. Well, I got 6 siblings. I'm one of those kids. In my family, loving mom and dad. And I got about 4 of them that I'm like, I don't know where you're at. And do you know how many people I talk to on a daily basis about God, and I can't even approach my brother and sister sometimes? And people go, well, yeah, that's family, that's harder. Why is that harder? That's my brother and sister. I'm rejoicing because I get to spend the rest of my afterlife with Carl, but not my brother and sister? Not my friends? Not some of the ones that I know personally don't know him? And I'm sitting there going, you know what, I'll talk to him next week, maybe. Because the time's not right. Because the place isn't right. Because it's just not right. He says, if you're lukewarm, I don't want you. I don't want you. All we've heard this week is about how great it is to be in the presence of the Lord, and it's absolutely true. And I'll tell you what, on that day when my Lord tells me, if He ever does, that I don't want you, I'm done. I'm crushed. Because that is going to be the worst day for me, if I would ever hear that. As good as you've ever felt in His presence, imagine what it would be like without it. You can't. You can't, because luckily we have a loving God and a graceful God who loves us. And so I challenge you. I challenge you. I challenge you as a Christian, as for some of you guys who haven't made that commitment maybe to follow Christ, but you at least think you're a good person or you want to know or whatever it goes along with it, I challenge you. Make this year that year that you change. Make this year that year that you turn on the hot water. Make this year that year that hot water doesn't run out. So that way when you come back next year to camp, there's no refilling because you're already full. You want to come back and just overflow. Make this year that year. The great thing about this message that some of you younger people, guys, don't worry because the older people are in the same boat as you guys. This message is for everybody. This message is for me, for anybody. Because we don't always have it all down either. And the awesome thing about that is, yet you still see, pick any one of these counselors that you just like to watch up here praising God, worshiping. Because I do. I love seeing Scott fall down today on his knees and start singing. I like seeing, Mary just completely close her eyes and put up her hands, and it's like, you can tell that she's going, hey, nobody else in this place but me and you, Lord. Yeah. I understand that we look up to people like that sometimes. But the thing is, guys, is that they're still struggling with it too. We all are. So that means there's hope for all of us. There's hope for every single one of us out there. That we can change our ways and make this year that year. And guys, I know it's tough. I come from the same county that Heaven and Leslie and Tiffany come from. You ain't Leslie, right? Hardin County. It's a little podunk county that don't laugh at that. That can't hurt again. Little podunk town, all right? Little podunk town. Come from that same place. Some of you guys come from those same types of places. Some of you guys come from big cities. Some of you guys come from, I don't know where all you guys come from. Some of you guys come from lots of different places. It's no different whether you're in a school of 20 or you're in a school of 2,000. Same thing. Make this the year. This the year that you're going to change. Make this a year that you're going to stay high. Make this the year that you're going to stay in touch with the people who can. Make this a year that you're going to hold somebody else accountable and you're going to have somebody hold you accountable. Make this a year that you're going to talk to your brother, or your sister, or your mother, or your father, your grandmother, your grandfather, whoever it is that right now you're thinking in your head, oh my gosh, that's the person he's talking about for me. Make this the year that you're going to do that. God is convicting us right now to do that. Make this your year. So that way when you come back next year, we can rejoice and do all of this again. And we can come back and just be like, man, guess what? I made it this year. I made it this year. Not on my own, but I made it this year because of you and you and you and you and you and him. I made it this year. Pray with me.